Now here is the risk that Browns had to take with I love you, Cleveland. And I love you, Ohio. And a very pleasant welcome to this week's version of Bonus Time with Drennan, brought to you by FanDuel here on the Big Play Sports Network. Hi, I'm Bruce Drennan along with Ryan Smith, and we do want to welcome FanDuel as the title sponsor of our show. We are honored to be teaming up with FanDuel for the entire rest of this year. We're very excited about that. Ryan, how you doing?
I'm doing very well, Bruce. Thrilled that you were able to say presented by FanDuel. So excited to begin our partnership with them.
Absolutely. We have a great show planned for you. We're going to talk about the Red Hot Guardians, touch upon the Browns' first preseason game and what that meant. And certainly we're really looking forward to interviewing Chuck Kyle, co-host with his daughter Maureen of Object of the Game here on the Big Play Network. Soon he's going to be doing commentating for the high schools all around the state on the Rock on Thursday nights, doing some play-by-play analysis, and also on Fridays summing up all of the games from around the state. I do want to point out that this past weekend was very special for yours truly, because every year I have been asked by Youngstown State University to be part of their baseball fundraising program, where they bring in former major leaguers that I get the privilege of interviewing on stage at the fundraiser dinner this past Sunday night. In the past, Charlie Nagy, Kenny Lofton from the Indians were featured. Darryl Strawberry, the great New York Met. Last year we had Andrew Jones, the great Atlanta Brave. And this year they did something different. They brought in 3 World Series champions in the likes of Keith Folk, who got the save and the final out of the Boston World Series Championship in 2004. That was the year they came from a 3-0 deficit in the playoffs against the Yankees and came back and won to qualify for the World Series. They beat the Cardinals in 5. And Darrell Evans, who played with Atlanta, San Francisco, and then the Detroit Tigers of Sparky Anderson in 84 that won it all. Tony Perez of the Big Red Machine, and he was great. They were all great. I had a ball with them, and Perez said, yes, Pete Rose, to my answer to my question, does belong in the Hall of Fame. So I want to thank everybody at Youngstown State. Trevor Sharpie is in his second year as the head baseball coach at YSU, and he just got engaged. His soon-to-be bride, Erin, was one of the best softball players in the country. She played for the University of Tennessee, and she's so glad that the softball is again going to be an Olympic event. So we wish them well, not only Trevor with the season, but Trevor and Aaron on their upcoming wedding and marriage. Bob Hannon, legendary sportscaster in the Youngstown area, still the play-by-play voice of YSU football. Ed Moransky, the former Super Bowl champion lineman and All-American out of Michigan, who is the owner of the Lake Club where this was all staged, and his right arm, Leo Henry. So it was a great weekend, and I want to thank everybody involved. Look forward to it already for next year. And gosh, the way they bring in these top major leaguers is incredible. All right, when we get back, we'll dive into the Guardians, and boy, are they hot. That's next on Bonus Time on the Big Play Sports Network.
The Big Play Sports Network is brought to you by Smart Choice Windows. Energy-efficient products at an affordable price. Visit smartchoicewindows.com today.
I love you, Menor Nissan. Hi, Bruce Drennan here from my good friends at Menor Nissan. Ray Sminchak, the whole staff. As you know, I've been doing a lot of our shows down in Florida, just returned. Great to be back on the home confines of our beautiful studios here at Burke Lakefront Airport for Big Play. But I got to tell you, I drove my Nissan Rogue from Menor Nissan down to Florida, had the rack up on top with extra luggage. It was absolutely the most splendid, beautiful ride. Just as smooth as could be. My wife also drives a Rogue. We rotated driving down there and back, but I just can't recommend it any more so to you. Get on out there, test drive a Rogue or a Murano or any of the other great products that they have out there at Mentor Nissan. Don't forget, they're now in partnership with Infinity of Akron and Infinity of Beechwood. Check those great vehicles out as well. Service department is absolutely fantastic. Went back to the dealership to get maintenance after that long drive down there and back. And give them a call. Set up an appointment. Of course, check out their website at mentornissan.com. That's mentornissan.com. I love you, Mentor Nissan. How about Jose? 4-3 win against Florida last night. Jose, 2 solo shot home runs, becomes the Cleveland all-time leader in multi-homer games with 27, breaking a tie with Jim Thome and Albert Bell. Tied for 8th most multi-homer games with Juan Soto and George Springer. First is Aaron Judge with 44. Second is Manny Machado with 41. Kyle Schwarber with 34. Mookie Betts with 31. Nelson Cruz with 30. Mike Trout with 28. And Giancarlo Stanton with 27. Pretty good company, I'd say. Jose's second homer of the night in the 8th inning proved to be the game winner for the Guardians. Great relief work by Enright, Gaddis, Sobrowski, and Cade Smith, going the last 4 innings, throwing shutout ball and merely giving up 1 hit. Tremendous relief work. Jose is now hitting .294 with 25 homers, 63 RBIs. He's got 33 stolen bases, too. Think of that. What a player. Since July 6th, the Guardians are 22-8. In the recently completed 6-game road trip, Jose and Stephen Kwan hit a combined 154. That's all. However, the Guardians went 5-1. That's a key. 10-2 in the last 12 games. Last 7 games, Kyle Manzardo is hitting .353 with 3 homers, 5 home runs. Last 15 games, he's hitting .375 with 5 homers and 11 RBIs. And Daniel Schneemann is hitting .318 in his last 7 games, .320 in his last 15. David Fry is hitting .294 in his last 7 games with 2 homers and 6 RBIs. C.J. Kafis, who we just brought up, in his last 7 games is hitting .316 with a homer and 4 RBIs. And Rocchio, in his last 7 games, is hitting .280. In his last 15 games, he's hitting .333. So, I'll tell you, when you have Kwan and Jose and a little bit of us, and these other guys pick up, that's a real key to qualifying for the playoffs, let alone getting in and getting some clutch hits. And I just mentioned Tony Perez in the first segment, one of the greatest clutch hitters of all time. So here's the situation. We are currently trailing the Detroit Tigers by merely 5.5 games. Can you believe that? Can you believe it? After being out so many games, we've won 8 of our last 10. In the wild card situation, we're only a game out, right behind the slumping New York Yankees. Houston, Seattle, and Boston are ahead of us, but the Guardians are only a game out. And I hope to be proven wrong, Ryan. I really do, because I counted them out over a month ago, and here they are with this never say die attitude. And I'll tell you what, if they can hold on, if they can qualify for the playoffs, I think you can again make a very serious case for vote for manager of the year.
It's crazy to think about it, Bruce. The Yankees have 2 upcoming series against, I believe it's the Cardinals and the Rays, 2 clubs who are playing winning baseball. So it's very possible that very soon the Cleveland Guardians could jump the Yankees. But you mentioned, Bruce, they're finally doing what we wanted them to do. Great teams still win when their superstars aren't producing. And you mentioned that streak of Kwan and Jose's batting average. I think you said it was 150. You managed to rattle off 5. That's what great baseball teams do. And the Cleveland Guardians, in the last sample size of the last month and a half, they finally look like a great baseball team again.
I tell you, the Milwaukee Brewers in the National League are just raising eyebrows all over baseball. They've won 11 in a row. That's their second 11-game streak in 38 days. That's how hot they are. They have actually opened up a 7.5-game gap over the Chicago Cubs, who had, a 5 or 6 game lead at one point over Milwaukee, Ryan? It was that less. Let's think of that turnaround. Amazing. I'll tell you what, Milwaukee, 75-44 represents the best record in the major leagues, and the Dodgers have now been tied by San Diego in the National League West. They're both 68-52. San Diego's hot, too. They've won 4 in a row, 7 of 10. The Mets have fallen 5 behind the Phillies in the East. So here we go. We're midway through the month of August, approaching September. I think it's going to be quite interesting, my friend.
Hey, who needs Craig Counsell? Certainly the Milwaukee Brewers don't. That's for sure. The last 2 years, certainly going to go to the playoffs. And not only Brewers, they have the best division in the NL, but you mentioned the best, record in the NL. They have the best record in the major leagues by 5 games. That's impressive.
Yeah. All right, when we come back, we'll transition to the Cleveland Browns. That's next on Bonus Time.
The Big Play Sports Network is brought to you by Pure AV, luxury home automation. Experience your dream smart home by visiting pureavcorp.com.
As you know, I have been one of the Browns' biggest critics. I still can't comprehend, nor will I could be proven wrong, but I can't comprehend how they didn't draft Hunter. But I'm fair, and I give credit where it's due. This Sanders really impressed me in this opening game. His poise for a raw rookie, his scrambling ability. You know, twice he ran for first downs. The first time, he slid smartly. The second time, sliding wouldn't have gotten to the line to gain. So he put his head down like a football player and accomplished that first down to move the chains that way. He threw 2 beautiful touchdown passes, threading the needle on that second one. Now, you run the risk of getting picked off when you do that, but he had zip on those balls. I thought he scrambled a little too much at times, and he's going to have to know when to throw the ball away and just wait for the next down or the next series if it was third down. But I'll tell you what, a quarterback rating of 106.9, 14 of 23. He rushed for 19 yards, as I mentioned, on those 2 first downs. I was very impressed. I think that he probably will start this game, too, against Philadelphia. Gabriel, I think, has been practicing, so he should be we should be getting our first look at him. And the only other rookie quarterback that compares to what Sanders did in the first preseason game was Dart with the New York Giants. But, Ryan, I have to give credit where it's due. Sanders showed me a lot.
You know, I got him on my shirt right now. It says Dime Time. Listen, Shedeur Sanders didn't look like a rookie is the basic way to put it. And you're right, there were mistakes. Don't turn your back to the defensive line. Do that against TJ Watt and company in the AFC North. That's not going to end well. But the ability to stay comfortable in the pocket, right? There was a 3rd and 9 in his own end zone. 2 rushers got into him. He stayed poised, stepped in the pocket, delivered a dart that led to the touchdown drive. The second one, he identified a free blitzer. Running back came in, perfectly picked up the block, took 1 step to the right, and delivered the dart that you talked about. I thought Shedeur Sanders passed every test with flying colors. And, you know, a lot of people are going to say, well, it's vanilla defenses, it's the preseason. But this is his first opportunity that he's been given, and, man, did he pass it.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how he performs against the world champions, whether he starts or not. But I think he probably will start. Don't you, Ryan?
It does appear, though, if Dylan Gabriel is healthy, he's going to start the game. But there's a chance that he won't be. And if that happens again, Shedeur will get the start.
Well, Sanders will get in there, though.
Sure, certainly.
And why play Flacco? I think, would you agree that Flacco is going to be the starting quarterback for the beginning of the season?
Unless, and I'm still saying, there's still a chance that he gets traded. But as of now, if he doesn't, I think it's Joe Flacco's job.
All right, it's time for Chuck Kyle. He is next on Bonus Time with Drennan here on the Big Play Sports Network. Legendary coach. High school football season is upon us.
The Big Play Sports Network is brought to you by Lake Spur Marketing, connecting your brand to the right customers. Visit lakespurmarketing.com today.
Well, as I said earlier in the show, football season is upon us. And before the pros start, college ball will start. And before college ball, high school football in this country will be kicking off. So it's only appropriate that we welcome one of the greatest high school football coaches ever, our own Chuck Kyle, to the show to preview the season. Chuck was a coach at St. Ignatius High School from 1983 to 2022. He had a record of 353, 90, and 1 tie. before they broke ties. 72-18 in the playoffs. 11 Division I state championships. That, by the way, is a record. 4 national championships. 89, 93, 95, and 08. And we are proud to say he is the co-host of Object of the Game with his daughter Maureen right here on the Big Play Sports Network. Welcome, Chuck Kyle, old friend.
Yes, Bruce. My goodness, how kind of you with all those statistics and so on. But we go back, honestly, Parma Heights days.
Yes.
I married my wife, Patricia Cassidy at the time. Her dad, Paul Cassidy, was mayor for a century or something like that. I don't know, 50 years. And we get a chance to meet there.
We would see each other every year at the parade, the day of
Yes.
the parade, and the luncheon afterward. Joe Tal used to host that, and
Right.
because my wife from Parma Heights is a former Miss Ohio and became director and got me involved in the Miss Ohio system, and we did the Miss Parma Heights preliminary, which was a preliminary. We qualified a contestant for Miss Ohio every year, so we were featured. Our contestant was always featured in the parade. And we'd see Chuck every year. So we do go back decades. And I do mean decades,
Yes,
Coach.
leave it at that, right?
I want to preview some of the individual teams in Northeastern Ohio and around the state. But before we do, let's talk about your career, obviously the state of high school football in the country, and it really was an illustrious career. I always took special interest that Chuck would volunteer saying what's more important to me than coaching this great football school was being a good English teacher.
Hey, that Bruce, high school teacher coach. What coaching was a stipend, okay? Picture what that means, a stipend, right? I put food on the table with the fact that I taught 5 English classes, okay? And which was fun. I in all honesty, I'm a young guy coming out of college and energy, and I wanted to teach English and do some coaching, right? I didn't have any visions of grandeur or anything. You just wanted to have fun and do that. I was still young. I wanted to get out there and run around. But, you as a sports fanatic, you know how it gets you, right? You get into it. And coaching has that magic about it that obviously you like working with young people. They keep you young, just in fun. But you're always looking at there's always another, maybe a better way of doing something. And that curiosity just keeps you going,
Despite your God-given leadership ability and football knowledge and all that goes into it, being able to relate to kids, develop them, teach them, you've had tremendous coaching staffs in the past, too.
Right, yeah. It's just, sadly, we lost my sidekick, Nick Restifo, not even a year ago. Heart attack. But we go back all the way to college, actually. I met him. He went to Cathedral Latin, okay? So there was that, back then, the Ignatius Latin rivalry was pretty big and whatever. So, but I met him in college. He was on the team. I was on John Carroll's team. And we got rid of the high school days, and we became friends and teammates at John Carroll. And then, okay, he went into education, teaching foreign languages, and I went my way teaching English. For some people, that's a foreign language, but we won't go into that idea.
Isn't that the truth?
I digress there. But
We'll leave that for another show.
Yes, if we want to get into that. Sorry. But, so I don't know, about 7 years go by, he's doing his thing, and what ends up happening is there's an opening at St. Ignatius in the Spanish, for Spanish teaching, and Nick comes on over, and so we started just being assistants together, right? And having a good time, and then there comes a point where the head coaching job's open, and both of us put our name in, so they graciously offer it to me. And in all honesty, I walk out of that office where the president of the school said, you are our head coach. I walked up, went up 2 flights of stairs to the foreign language department, and there was Nick, and I said, Nick, you want to be an offensive coordinator? He said, sure. Yeah, he is the first offensive coordinator in the history of St. Ignatius High School. How's that? Because John Wirtz and Paul Nevick and all those guys before, head coach called the plays.
Right.
And everybody else was a position guy.
Right.
And, well, the game became very complex, okay?
Right.
And it's the point being made is a head coach is busy enough with, there's special teams, there's just there's a big list. So you need that kind of coordinating idea.
A big part of high school coaching, a lot of fans don't realize, is helping your kids get recruited.
Right.
That was a big job.
Oh, right. I honestly would say that went on 365 days a year, and really it would start. There are some kids by sophomore year you go, okay, yes,
you knew
this guy's gonna be one they certainly should look at. Okay?
Yeah.
So you start some correspondence with that, and in all honesty, by doing that, you helped the recruiters. Now, who are the recruiters? They're the assistant coaches at the universities. They're busy enough too. They got some coaching to do, okay? So by the fact that you could help them with information, hey, the kids' grades are such and such.
You got to get good grades to get into St. Ignatius, first of all.
Yeah, well, it's a college prep school, right? But be as it may, there's still the university has to know, okay, this is a kid that the admissions department would go, yes, okay. So that's one thing, but also just they can see they can check the boxes of speed and height and weight.
Well, you had to establish a rapport with the various head coaches and all of the, not just Division I, but the other divisions, but all the division big school, because St. Ignatius, one of the top high school football programs in the country. Big schools, Division I here in Ohio, and so you did produce a lot of blue chip Division I players.
Right. And again, that a lot goes into that God-given size and talent and so on. Okay, if that's Division I, that you can tell, okay, that he checks those boxes. But and I think it's important that parents hear this too. Division III, Division II, some very interesting opportunities there for the kid to keep playing if they so desire, but to help get with the admissions, financial aid, whatever.
Yes.
They'd be surprised that the ability of the colleges to provide financial aid.
John Carroll's, Mount Unions of the world.
Yeah, so many people that don't understand it. It's always been a surprise to me, and this is being honest, that, well, if the kid isn't going Division I, they can't afford college. Now, wait a minute. Time out. Just listen to what, okay, he's not going Division I, but here's Division II, Division III. Division II, over the years, they look at your financial aid package that you probably will get, and they do have partial scholarships.
Sure.
So by the time the dust settles, it's a wonderful offer for the young man. Division III, they have the ability to look again at the financial need and provide packages and over the years the loans were low interest loans that made it possible to go, and so people have to realize the young man wants to keep playing football, which is okay. Why is that? Come on, Bruce, going to college, a young guy, he needs a little discipline in his life.
Absolutely.
Something has to discipline him.
All right. Your thoughts on NIL?
Oh, my. Okay. Well, boy, you got an hour?
No, we don't.
I know you don't.
I already know what he's going to say because we've talked off the air at golf outings. But
yes.
fire away, Coach.
Yeah. Well, first of all, the NCAA blew this 10 to 15 years ago, let's say. They blew it. Okay, so here, at Division I, young man would be, or young lady would be offered a scholarship. Wonderful. But with that scholarship, the NCAA had rules that you could not have a summer job if you got that scholarship. Why? Because they pictured some universities, the summer job would be, well, you come here, son, you take care of the weight room for a couple hours. And what they meant was you're getting paid to lift, and they put money in your pocket. Okay, I don't mean to, but so they had these pretty strict rules. Okay, so when the dust settles, what's the problem? Here's a young man that got a scholarship to college with no money in his pocket. None. Family couldn't afford to help him in that way. Meanwhile, there's thousands of people in the stands, and the schools are making loads of money, right? And there was a point where a number of, what can we say, lawyers get together, and they kind of look going, that is not fair. I mean, these programs are basically kind of semi-pro. So there's where the court cases start coming in. So what ends up happening? Over a year ago, the courts decided, no, these young people should be paid. They're the stars of the show. They should be paid. Now, what basically, sadly, starts happening there? Slowly but surely, you're losing amateur athletics. I'll be honest with you. Slowly but surely, you are losing amateur athletics. Okay, you're seeing young men. Young men leaving one college, jumping to another, and then jumping to another. You're seeing, I don't think any major college, well, I can't say any, but some do, but you won't see Ohio State too often come out of spring ball saying, for sure that's the starting quarterback.
Right.
Why is that?
Right.
The number 2 and number 3 are going to be gone.
Yeah. Well, I just did a function I mentioned earlier in the show at Youngstown State supporting their baseball program. And the head coach, I was talking to him, and he's saying, I said, you're in a position now, even at your level, you have to recruit and recruit because
Correct.
of NIL.
When the season ends, and you can talk to any university, any football coach, staff in the country, they really have, as you're saying, recruit the freshmen and the sophomores,
yeah.
the juniors.
Chuck, how unfair is it? And now I always thought that coaches on the Division I level, it was unfair to a student for a coach to go into a family room, convince the kid to come to a school, and then 2 months later, that coach gets offered millions from another school and has that clause in his contract he can flee. That was unfair to the kid because the kid was stuck. So that was unfair. But I don't know how you rectify it. And here's the other thing: we're basically talking football and basketball. I mean, you don't see track and field, rarely track and field, gymnastics, swimming, volleyball, etc.
Right. Which will bring up a whole mess soon, because if you say that, well, it's based on the attendance or something of showing up, you're gonna get a lot of.
Is there a remedy to this?
Well, the NCAA is going to try. I think once they've let it out of the Pandora's box, once you leave it out, how can you reel it back in?
Yeah.
I don't know how they can totally bring it back to say, yes, that's amateur athletics. I really don't. But to say that it's right as it's going, no, it's not. It's It creates a very confusing. There's so many. Be honest with you. Look, Nick Saban.
Oh yeah,
he's gone.
I was just going to bring him up.
He's gone,
and this is
I'm
why.
not doing this.
This is why.
Correct.
He go into a living room trying to talk ethics and morals and develop a boy into a man, a young adult, and he said now he walks into the living room. How much money am I going to get?
Right. I mean, young right now the way it's going. If you're drafted in the, say, 6th, 7th round of the NFL draft, how nice. Meanwhile, for many universities, you are being paid better at the university than your 6th or 7th round, because they're all bracketed, their pay scale.
Yeah.
Now, something's wrong something's wrong here.
Yeah.
Something's wrong here.
When the NCAA attempts to try to remedy this, as I'm asking the coach, we got to have you back on and go into detail. Where are they getting it right? Where are they still getting it wrong? Because, like you say, amateur athleticism on the collegiate level, it seems to be disappearing. Chuck Kyle, the Hall of Famer, will be joining us for another segment. We're going to preview the high school football season in this very enriched state of Ohio. That's next on Bonus Time with Drennan.
The Big Play Sports Network is brought to you by Garage Beer. No bitterness, no frills, no IPA, just beer-flavored beer. Find local retailers who sell garage beer near you by visiting drinkgaragebeer.com.
Back with legendary coach Chuck Kyle, Hall of Famer, of course, co-host with his daughter Maureen and object of the game here on the Big Play Sports Network. I used to get interviews when I was doing radio. I would get and TV when I was on the network, the statewide network. I'd get interviews with Division I coaches all over the country, and I am realistic. It wasn't because of my charm, so-called. But it was because they recognize, as everybody in the country that knows anything about football recognizes, that we are one of the most enriched states in the nation, along with Florida, in my opinion, Texas, and California, when it comes to football talent. And these coaches would grant me these interviews because they all come into Ohio and recruit.
Right. Ohio is certainly one of the top 5. It's been that way for a number, and it hasn't diminished at all. Sometimes I think some of the universities look at it. Well, the defensive players or the linemen, quarterbacks. They kind of look at Florida. Maybe that's more speed there or something like that. Come on, break a stopwatch off and time it. That doesn't necessarily. You can't regionalize anything like that. But because of the quality of football, because come on, you can drive down the 77 for about an hour and you're at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. The game does have something to do with this state.
Yeah,
I mean,
and as you know, I'm from the Chicagoland area. I went to Loyola Academy,
there you go.
A cousin school to St. Ignatius,
right.
a college prep school that was a football powerhouse. Who you beat a few years ago, to my dismay.
Come on, Bruce, get over it now. Come on.
They've won the last 3 state championships, by the way.
They're good.
Illinois is known for basketball. The Chicago Catholic League, that's a great football conference.
Right.
That can play with anybody.
Right.
But the difference is, in Ohio, you get Division 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Colleges are recruiting these kids. These are kids that go, if they don't go Division 1, they're going plenty Division 2 and 3.
Oh, sure. The colleges realize, and by the way, just take a look, first of all, Ohio and the number of colleges. You got the MAC, mostly of Ohio schools. You get Division. This state is tremendous Division III schools. First of all, I don't know if there's another state academically as strong with the Division III, but also playing football. Good brand of football. If you want to watch a game on a Saturday, shoot over to Ball and Wallace or John Carroll. They're great football. But anyway, it's a state that certainly is appreciated by the colleges because of the quality, and I want to say of the coaching and the belief in the game. Okay, just that's history though. It's part of history. When you look at the historical idea of again, Canton Pro Football Hall of Fame,
Yeah.
but also the history of Ohio State, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that affects just the mentality
Yeah,
of this state.
and it's all the Youngstown area, the Cleveland area, the
Sure.
Toledo area, the Columbus area, the Dayton area, the Cincinnati area, and that brings me to St. Ignatius, St. Ed's, men are up here, Moeller, St. X, and Cincinnati, all the Columbus schools, the Toledo Central Catholics of the world, Glenville, of course, with Coach
Right.
Ginn.
Coach Ginn.
But we're entering another season, and you are going to be the top commentator on The Rock. Our show airs on The Rock, and Coach's show with Maureen airs on The Rock, and you're going to be doing some analysis all over the state with high school football coming up.
Right. It's just an interesting concept. The Rock Network wants to take local coverage and come on. We're in that age now where it doesn't have to be local. Let's take the state of Ohio and show what it can do, right? And get, like you're talking about, all these wonderful, not just Division Ones, but the amazing Division 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and onward, and rivalry games and so on. So I'm going to be let's see. I'm going to on Thursday. They're going to do some games on Thursday night. Rock Entertainment. Not every week, but right now a number of them. So I think I'm going to be at some of them. But on Friday night, Bruce, I hope I can stay awake. We're at that age, you know.
Yeah.
So at about 10:30 at night, by that time the scores
We'll be all in.
should be all in unless there's a triple overtime somewhere or whatever. But so I'm going to be the color commentary.
That's beautiful.
With
That's great.
the
Are
Rock.
you
Entertainment
satisfied?
show.
Yeah, check it out on The Rock. Just a couple of weeks you start now.
Yeah,
That's why I wanted to have Coach
week.
on. Are you okay with the playoff system in Ohio?
It's adjusted a little bit now. We were taking more than just. I think they're taking the top. What they were taking the top 16, and they moved it back to 12. And I think they looked at the statistics that the typical idea, the number one team was playing the lower bracket, number 16 or something, and some of the scores got obnoxious and so on. And I don't know. I understand that. But I would say just the idea that you're in the playoffs, you get a chance to play one more game.
Yeah.
And you're playing against that great, the number one team or number two team or something like that. I don't know. I think there's a feeling like the kids would say, "Come on, let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's go
Yeah.
play." And number two, if it's a mismatch, because we ended up ranked fairly high, and we played. I'll tell you the school, John Marshall, and not being overconfident, but we were going to win that game, I think it's a responsibility of that team that's ranked highly to control the game.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. I think if you're going to be going to coaching, certainly you prepare for every team all the time.
Right.
But you also need to understand there's a point where you can handle, how do I keep the clock going?
Respect
and
the
how
game.
do I play respectively?
Respect the game.
So we ended up beating John Marshall like 34-14.
Yeah.
It's still a W. But every kid on the team played.
Yeah.
And Marshall walked off. The kids, they were disappointed. The kids were disappointed, but the coach was going,
Yeah, it wasn't
Thank you.
70-3. Okay,
Right.
so
Right.
not much time left, Coach. I have to ask you this: you had to be made offers for college positions, and not necessarily in the case of Jerry Faust, where he was again, like Chuck, one of the greatest high school football coaches in the country, who got the job at Notre Dame right from Cincinnati Moeller, but why didn't you take a college position? And did the Jerry Faust situation affect your thinking in any way? Because unfortunately, as fabulous as Jerry was on the high school level, it didn't go so well, to be kind, at Notre Dame.
well, I was offered several times the opportunity to come on a staff and be a position coach. But as soon as you make that decision, and I was counseled, because I got a phone call and I go, I've never even thought of this, but we'll talk to this experienced position coach. He'll walk you through it. I said, well, I'll gladly talk to him about it. Okay. And the man made a lot of sense. Look, he told me, okay, if you make this decision, career decision, please understand, you will not be at this university that long. There's success, and at that point on, you are just dedicated in your life, your career. You go from a position coach to a coordinator, from a coordinator to a head coach. You're going to move about 14 to 15 times in your lifetime, your family moving back and forth and all over the place, and that's the way you're going to live. And he was very realistic to me. And about 10 minutes into that conversation, go, what am I going to do? I'm not doing that. I wanted to be an English teacher and a coach. I just came down from sophomore English, indirect objects and direct objects, and I'm talking and going, wait a minute, why don't we talk out of this?
We got to do Chuck again. Chuck Kyle, one of the greatest of all time. English teachers, as well as, by the way, a football coach. Chuck, thanks so much. And, of course,
sure. It's fun to always get with
absolutely.
You.
Object of the game here on the Big Play Sports Network. Check Chuck's workout on the Rock for the coming high school football season. And Ask Bruce segment, that's next.
The Big Play Sports Network is brought to you by Fairway Ford, the largest inventory of new Ford trucks, the lowest pricing, and same hometown level of service. Visit fairwayfordohio.com today.
Before we get to a couple of your questions, we revealed the coaches poll in college football last week. The preseason AP poll is out. Texas, number 1, as they were in the coaches poll. This is the first time ever for Texas, by the way. And Penn State, number 2 in the AP. They were number 3 in the coaches. Ohio State, number 3 in the AP. They were 2 in the coaches. Clemson is number 4. They were number 6 in the coaches poll. Georgia's number 5. They were number 4 in the coaches poll. Notre Dame, number 6. They were 5 in the coaches poll. And Oregon, Alabama, LSU, and Miami rounding out same in both polls. And, of course, August 30th, the countdown, noon kickoff, Texas at Columbus to take on our Buckeyes. Wow, what a way to start this season. Ask Bruce segment.
Alrighty, hey Bruce. It's starting to look like John Means will soon be able to factor in the rotation. Do you still think he has the number 1 or number 2 stuff in him?
Yeah, he was a great pitcher with Baltimore, an all-star, of course. He certainly now is, 32, I think. He's 32 years old, so I'd like to think he's still got gas in the tank. He's a smart veteran pitcher. Guys like that. Look at Kershaw. Kershaw's having a very good year with the Dodgers, considering he didn't even start the campaign because of injuries after injuries. Now at his age, what is he, 38? Veteran, they know how to pitch. That's why I think Bieber will still be effective as long as the surgery and the Tommy John is okay with his arm physically. But guys like that, they know how to pitch. So he did a game, pitched a game in Goodyear, and now they're going to send him to the minors, probably at AA.
Alrighty, hey Bruce, Kyle Manzardo just surpassed the 20 home run marker in his first full season. It took Josh Naylor 4 seasons to do so. Do you project Manzardo to be better than Josh Naylor long term?
Well, I don't really like to make comparisons like that, but I do think Manzardo is going to be a 20-plus, maybe a 30-plus home run guy. He has that power. He has that potential. The more he learns Major League pitching, pitches to lay off of. I found it fascinating. As I mentioned in the first segment, I did this fundraiser for YSU out in the Youngstown area, and to hear Perez and Evans and Folk talk about pitching and hitting and philosophy and laying off pitches, absolutely fascinating stuff at dinner, and I'll share that with you at another time. But unfortunately, we are out of time. Our thanks to Chuck Kyle for joining us, and that is all the time we have for this version of Bonus Time with Drennan, brought to you by FanDuel here on the Big Play Sports Network. I'm Bruce Drennan on behalf of Ryan Smith. Have a great week. We'll see you next week. I'm looking forward to it. Until then, and as always, and most importantly, you remember, I love you, Ohio. And I love you, Cleveland.
Thank you.